At its peak, the Mughal Empire projected an image of staggering material wealth. It held nearly the entire Indian subcontinent under a single throne, housing almost a quarter of the world's population within palaces defined by intricate marble and precision-cut jewels. But governing a territory of this scale was a logistical nightmare. Before the 16th century, regional taxation across the subcontinent was fractured. Local rulers extracted arbitrary amounts from farmers, leaving the central government with no clear way to predict its own budget. The primary flaw was that taxes were collected in physical agricultural produce. Farmers paid their dues in wheat, rice, or cotton rather than coin. This effectively made grain the imperial currency, which was impossible to manage. Produce rots, it requires massive secure storage facilities, and transporting thousands of tons of heavy grain by ox cart across a continent was a slow, expensive failure. This trapped the throne in a lethal dilemma. Overtaxation left peasants to starve, sparking revolts. Undertaxation meant the military couldn't be paid, leaving the empire's borders vulnerable to invasion. Success required more than military conquest. The empire's long-term survival depended on solving a complex mathematical and administrative problem. In the late 16th century, Emperor Akbar and his finance minister Raja Todar Mal set out to overhaul the empire's entire administrative framework. Their solution was the Zabt protocol, a massive physical survey categorizing every plot by crop productivity. To calculate a fair tax rate, the Ain Dasila used this column data to find the average yield and market price over the previous 10 years. This 10-year rolling average acted as a mathematical buffer. If a sudden drought or flood destroyed a single season's harvest, the decade-long data window absorbed the shock, preventing the tax demand from becoming impossible for the farmer to pay. This transition from arbitrary tribute to standardized data protected the peasantry while transforming the imperial budget into a predictable, stable revenue stream. Enforcing this data-driven system across a continent required local management to avoid constant imperial oversight. The Mughals utilized zamindars, local land-owning intermediaries who lived within these territories. They maintained order and physically collected the taxes, taking a specific cut of the revenue as payment for their service. This was formalized through the Mansabdari system. Officials were granted the right to collect taxes from specific regions, but only if they provided a specific quota of cavalry for the emperor's service. To activate this system, the Mughals demanded taxes be paid in cash, forcing the entire economy to pivot toward these copper and silver coins. Tying local tax rights directly to military quotas created a decentralized, self-funding war machine that could be deployed anywhere the emperor required. The demand for physical coin changed the landscape of Indian agriculture. To get the money needed for their taxes, farmers began shifting from subsistence farming to lucrative cash crops. Fields were replanted with cotton, spices, and indigo. These were high-value goods that could be sold to foreign traders, integrating the subcontinent into the global trade market at an unprecedented scale. This solidified a rigid class hierarchy. The zamindar intermediaries amassed immense power, creating an elite landowning class that dominated rural society for centuries. By requiring payment in coin, the state effectively monetized the daily lives of millions, moving the entire agrarian economy away from barter and into a cash-based system. While the Mughal military eventually declined, their administrative methods outlived their physical empire. When the British Empire took control of India, they didn't invent a new revenue system, they adopted the Mughal framework, using Akbar's data-driven model as the foundational blueprint for colonial administration. Even today, the records used to settle modern Indian land disputes and property rights often trace their lineage directly back to these 16th century surveys. The Mughals are remembered for their conquest, but their true legacy was mathematical. By standardizing data and demanding cash, they built the administrative machinery that continues to influence the economic structure of modern India.